Hello and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching India Today Global. First up, breaking news coming in at the top of this bulletin. After speaking to US President Donald Trump, Prime Minister Modi now picks up the phone and congratulates Prime Minister of Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. In a tweet, Prime Minister Modi, referring to Netanyahu as his friend, said or wrote, and I quote, "Called my friend Prime Minister Netanyahu to congratulate him on the progress made under President Trump's Gaza plan. We welcome the agreement on the release of hostages and enhanced humanitarian assistance to the people of Gaza. Reaffirmed that terrorism in any form or manifestation is unacceptable anywhere in the world." That's news that's just coming in. Some time ago, he'd also spoken with President Donald Trump, crediting him for what is a major achievement. Should this go through, should there be peace in the first phase that we are looking at through the Gaza peace plan. My colleague Pranay Upadhyay now joins me. Pranay, we were discussing this just a while ago when Prime Minister Modi spoke with President Trump, and now he's also gone ahead and spoken with Prime Minister Netanyahu earlier when the Gaza peace plan was announced. He also had congratulated and called Netanyahu a great leader. What do you make of this conversation?
Absolutely, Geeta. You rightly mentioned that Prime Minister Narendra Modi remain engaged with the leaders, those who are involved in the Gaza peace plan, especially President Donald Trump. You will recall that how Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated President Donald Trump for the 20-point Gaza peace plan on social media. He also tagged the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in his social media post, and now today he spoke to both US President Donald Trump as well as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And this conversation remains interesting and very important. Not only in terms of that encourage that India remain invested in dialogue and diplomacy, but also India represents a strong voice of G20. India is a strong voice of global South, and therefore, if India endorses, if India encourages, or India welcomes any such peace initiative or any peace process, it has its own impact. And therefore, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to US President Donald Trump. And also, you'll see the social media post made by Prime Minister Narendra Modi mentioning his conversation with US President Donald Trump. He not only welcomed his peace initiative, but he also spoke and reviewed about the bilateral trade negotiation, which remain a pain point between, a sore point between India and US relations. And besides that, he also expressed a hope that both the leaders will remain in touch in coming weeks.
Right, Pranay, let's just take our viewers through what you just mentioned. Prime Minister Modi's conversation, or the tweet about the conversation with Donald Trump, where he spoke about the success of the Gaza peace plan. And he also then called President Trump his friend. Modi said that he spoke to the Republican leader and the president, congratulating him on the Gaza plan and review of the good progress in trade negotiations. Pranay, you were talking about that. Trade negotiations, also spoke to his friend Donald Trump on not just Gaza peace plan and the trade negotiations, but keeping in touch over the coming weeks. Break that down for us.
Actually, there is a possibility, later this month, because on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit, both Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump could have, a one-to-one engagement, because Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also scheduled to visit Kuala Lumpur, the Malaysian city Kuala Lumpur, where the ASEAN summit will be taking place, and also US President Donald Trump is also likely to visit Kuala Lumpur for the ASEAN summit. So on the sidelines of this ASEAN summit, 47th ASEAN summit, there is a possibility of both these leaders, meeting each other. And many experts have said, Geeta, that such issues can only be resolved at the leadership level. So if there is should there be a one-to-one contact between Prime Minister Modi and US President, then we may see a progress. And there is a work in progress. Both sides in diplomatic corridors, both sides are working to work out the mechanism with which there could be a high-level contact between these two leaders. But let's see, there is a change post 6th of September when Prime Minister Modi returned from Tianjin, and thereafter we have seen this is the second phone call which took place today between Prime Minister Modi and President Donald Trump within a span of a month.
And it's October 9th. Tomorrow is October 10th, Pranay, and the Nobel Peace Prize would be announced. There was a lot of hope in the Trump quarters that he's done a lot and enough and more to receive the award. He is going to be in the Middle East, according to reports, on the 11th of October. And the Prime Minister's Office of Israel has already said that he deserves the Nobel Prize. What are you hearing in terms of accolades coming his way and the expectations of the White House, particularly President Trump himself?
Oh, absolutely, Geeta. White House has already made it amply clear. President Donald Trump himself has made it clear that he's looking forward for his, a Nobel Peace Prize. We do not know exactly that whether his name is there in the nomination list, whether it will be considered, whether it will not be considered, whether he'll get or not, because we are only hours away from the announcement. Official announcement will be on, by late noon of 10th of October. So let's wait and see that whether he gets there. Can there be a wild card entry, because he was sworn in on 20th of January 2025, and the deadline for the nomination was over by 31st of January 2025. So he only got a limited time for Trump supporters to do the nomination, because the nomination process, anyone can nominate a person, but they have to send their formal nomination papers, especially by academicians, by the universities, by the member of parliament, by the assemblies. So we do not know exactly that how many endorsement and how many nominations he has got, or how many endorsement his nomination has received before the Nobel Peace Committee. But definitely he expects, and probably, Geeta, with the Gaza peace plan and his, his effort to end the Russia-Ukraine war, he might get, if not this year, he might get next year.
Okay. The fact that Nobel Peace Prize announcement is approaching and speculation is intensifying whether President Donald Trump could be the winner or not. And like Pranay said, that it could be either this year, may not be this year, but most probably next year, because we'll see things firming up in West Asia and Middle East as well in terms of whether this peace process is a lasting one or not. But the White House posted a photo of President Trump on social media, captioning it the Peace President. The post can be seen as an indirect projection of Trump as a potential Nobel Peace Prize winner. Trump has called on multiple occasions that he deserves the Nobel Prize for doing what he says nobody did. Trump has repeatedly highlighted his peace efforts in several countries like Pakistan, Israel, Turkey, and Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Rwanda have previously nominated Trump for the prize. Earlier, when Trump was asked about his chance of winning the prize, Trump said, "They'll find a reason not to give it to me." Listen in.
Go ahead, in the yellow, please.
So the Nobel Peace Prize will be announced on Friday. You've been nominated by many world
by many countries. That's right.
Many countries, as well as the hostage families. Do you think you will win?
I have no idea. I mean, look, I did settle. Marco would tell you we settled 7 wars. We're close to settling an 8th. And I think we'll end up settling the Russia situation, which is horrible. 7,000 people died last week, by the way, in Russia, between Russia and Ukraine. I think we'll settle that. So I don't think anybody in history has settled that many, but perhaps they'll find a reason not to give it to me, Perhaps they will.
Big day for India-UK ties. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer held significant bilateral talks in Mumbai, marking a milestone in India-UK relations aimed at elevating their partnership. Modi praised the landmark free trade agreement and highlighted shared democratic values and rule of law as a foundation for the close ties between the two nations, calling them natural partners. Modi also emphasized collaboration on critical minerals and technology, signaling deeper strategic cooperation. Prime Minister Modi also announced that 9 UK universities will open campuses in India, providing a boost for Indian students amid tightening restrictions in other countries. Starmer began his speech with a warm Namaskar Dosto. Starmer congratulated India on its rapid economic growth, countering previous criticisms by opposition and projecting India as the world's 3rd largest economy soon. Prime Minister Modi and UK PM also visited Geo World Centre, where Starmer checked out products associated with Indian art and craft. When Starmer was asked if he raised concerns about India buying Russian oil, he said they did discuss it and looked particularly at ways to end the Russia-Ukraine war, which he said was the outcome that we both want. Listen in.
मौजूदा वैश्विक अस्थिरता के दौर में भारत और यूके के बीच ये बढ़ती हुई साझेदारी ग्लोबल स्टेबिलिटी और आर्थिक प्रगति का एक आधार, महत्वपूर्ण आधार बनी रही है। भारत का डायनेमिज्म और यूके की एक्सपर्टाइज मिलकर एक यूनिक सिनर्जी बनाती है। हमारी साझेदारी ट्रस्टवर्दी है, टैलेंट और टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन है।
So on the first question of Russia-Ukraine, we did discuss this and looked particularly at the outcome that we both want. So Prime Minister Modi and myself, the focus on ending this conflict and the various steps that could be taken to that end. And that was a wide-ranging discussion, but we did set out the steps that we are taking in relation to energy, particularly on the Shadow Fleet, and the work of the Coalition of the Willing.
Afghanistan's Foreign Minister Amir Muttaki has arrived in New Delhi for a crucial week-long official visit. This is the first time that a senior Taliban official has arrived in India. This signals a pragmatic approach adopted both by India and the Taliban in fast-changing regional and global situation. Discussions will center on bilateral cooperation, trade exchanges, exports of dry fruits, facilities in the health sector, consular services, and various ports.
Since the first time the Taliban regained power in Kabul in 2021, Afghanistan's acting foreign minister Amir Muttaki is in India for a week-long visit. This comes a day after India backed Afghanistan's stand on Bagram Air Base, rejecting any revival of American presence. Upon Muttaki's arrival, Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson issued a statement welcoming him to India. It read, and I quote, "Warm welcome to Afghan Foreign Minister Maulavi Amir Muttaki on his arrival in New Delhi. We look forward to engaging discussions with him on bilateral relations and regional issues," unquote. During his visit, Muttaki is likely to meet External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. The visit comes at a crucial time of regional diplomacy as Islamabad is warming up to Washington again, while New Delhi is looking to deepen its engagement with the Taliban government in Kabul. Trade and security remain the top agenda of Muttaki's India visit. But as New Delhi prepares for bilateral engagements, officials are facing a flag dilemma. The diplomatic protocols dictates that Indian flag be placed alongside the flag of the country of the visiting leader. But since India does not recognize the Taliban's rule in Afghanistan, it does not give official status to the Taliban flag. Moreover, New Delhi has not allowed the Taliban flag at the Afghan embassy in New Delhi. The embassy still flies the old flag of Afghanistan, which was official at the time of now ousted President Ashraf Ghani. In previous meetings between Indian officials and Muttaki, Kabul has displayed the Taliban flag in the background. However, during Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri's meeting with Muttaki in Dubai earlier this year, both sides avoided the issue by not displaying any flag at all. Historically, India and Afghanistan had friendly relations, but New Delhi shut its embassy in Kabul after the 2021 US withdrawal from the war-shattered country and the return to power of the Taliban. India opened a small mission a year later to facilitate trade, medical support, and humanitarian aid. Although New Delhi does not officially recognize the Taliban government, it has cautiously re-engaged through diplomatic talks and development projects. India remains involved in the Turkmenistan-Afghanistan-Pakistan-India gas pipeline initiative and continues to extend humanitarian and reconstruction support to Afghanistan. With Neha Kumari, Bureau Report, India Today.
Soon after US President Donald Trump announced that Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of a Gaza peace plan, Crowds in both Gaza and Tel Aviv celebrated the ceasefire deal brokered by Trump, with some even calling for him to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. While addressing media, Trump stated that hostages to be released Monday or Tuesday. Gaza will be redone, will have signing in Egypt.
Days after the world marked the second anniversary of Israel-Hamas war, Israel and Hamas have signed off on the first phase of US President Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan. The news was announced by President Trump in a Truth Social post saying, and I quote, "I'm very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan," unquote. The first phase of the US brokered plan includes the release of all Israeli hostages in exchange for hundreds of Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. It also calls for Israel to withdraw from certain parts of Gaza as part of the initial implementation.
Well, they're smart, but they're not smart enough.
Trump's announcement came hours after he was handed a note by Secretary of State Marco Rubio during a press briefing, which said that a Truth Social post is awaiting his approval to announce the deal that has been struck.
With all these different departments to find the criminal.
The note read, and I quote, "You need to approve a Truth Social post soon so you can announce deal first," unquote. Trump even detailed about the note during his briefing.
As you know, last night we reached a momentous breakthrough in the Middle East, something that people said was never going to be done. We ended the war in Gaza and really we secured the release of all of the remaining hostages, and they should be released on Monday or Tuesday.
Following Trump's announcement, celebrations broke out across parts of Israel and Gaza, with citizens expressing joy and relief.
Honestly, we can't describe the feelings. We can't believe it. But thank God, the war has ended and we are alive.
I'm very, very happy. We prayed all the in Yom Kippur. It's unbelievable. It's very exciting, very emotional. I'm very happy. I woke up, I was extremely happy.
Meanwhile, world leaders hailed the agreement, calling it a long-awaited breakthrough.
I strongly welcome the news that a deal has been reached on the first stage of the peace plan in Gaza. This is a moment of profound relief that we felt around the world, but particularly for the hostages, their families, and for the civilian population of Gaza, who have all endured unimaginable suffering over the last 2 years.
As hopes rise for a permanent ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, and with first phase of agreement signed, the question is, will Trump's peace plan finally bring an end to the war in West Asia? With Neha Kumari, Bureau Report, India Today.
And on Statecraft today, we talk about India's energy security amid talks of TAPI, that's Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, and India pipelines that could restart with the Muttaki visit of Afghanistan's foreign minister. But what do strategic petroleum reserves mean? How many days of reserves does India have, and how does it stack up with the world? Watch an excerpt from Statecraft. Tucked deep underground, inside secretive caverns, is India's insurance policy against energy doom. Strategic Petroleum Reserves. Their story is more thrilling than you may think. Strategic Petroleum Reserves, or SPRs, are massive government-held stockpiles of crude oil, untouched until crisis falls. Let's set off on a journey beneath the surface of India's energy security. Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. So what makes SPR so special? Well, unlike the oil that refineries use every day, SPRs are shelved for emergencies, wars, supply choke points, market meltdowns. The idea is simple. When the world stops running, the nation doesn't. That's peace of mind in barrels. For India, world's third biggest oil consumer and importer, SPRs aren't just a nice to have, they're a must. With 85% of our oil shipped in from distant lands, a single global jolt could leave tankers stranded, fuel pumps dry, and factories paralyzed. Today, 3 giant underground vaults anchor India's energy security. Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, 1.33 million tons. Mangaluru in Karnataka, 1.5 million tons. And the behemoth at Padur, also in Karnataka, stashing 2.5 million tons. That's enough for just under 10 days of the nation's oil needs. All of this comes at a price. Costs ballooned from 24 billion to 41 billion rupees. Not surprising when you're drilling rock, waterproofing caves, and installing military-grade security systems. But can you put a price on peace of mind? Chandikhol in Odisha, 4 million tons, and more capacity in Padur. These sites, still under construction, will boost reserves to cover 21 days, a major leap, but still a way to go. How do we stack up against the world's big oil players? The United States leads with staggering capacity, over 700 million barrels, nestled inside salt caverns beneath Texas and Louisiana. The US isn't shy about flexing its muscles. When oil prices bite or political goals align, they open the spigots. Sometimes to influence markets, sometimes to calm their own people, sometimes to send a message to other nations. China is hungry, with its own strategic reserves now surpassing 500 million barrels, some bought at bargain prices from Russia. Their plan? Eventually, 90 days worth of imports matching the West. To sum up, India's current 9.5 days of reserves aren't enough if the region hits trouble, not with big energy-hungry economies nearby. And the stakes set sky high. We need more. Future sites should spread out, west to cover Gujarat's refineries, north for the big markets. It's not just about storing oil, it's about making sure you can reach every corner of India, come what may. Underground caverns are safest, both from military strikes and from Mother Nature. Salt caverns take longer and need the right geography, but their protection is second to none. But what if India could store oil abroad? Enter the Trincomalee oil tank farm, Sri Lanka. Built in World War II, now back in the game, thanks to a 3-way deal between India, Sri Lanka, and the UAE. There's no denying, building and keeping up SPRs costs a bundle. Construction bill run into tens of billions, with more on the way if new sites go ahead. Running costs alone topped ₹1 billion in recent years. The biggest hidden cost, though, opportunity. Every barrel in storage is money tied up, not earning returns elsewhere. But compare this with the economic wreckage from a major oil cutoff. Price spikes, factory shutdowns, growth stalling, inflation. It's not a risk worth taking. And while the world shifts towards renewables, oil will still power our vehicles, industries, and economies for decades. Strategic reserves won't lose relevance anytime soon. That's all in this edition of India Today Global. Do stay tuned to India Today for all the latest news and updates. Goodbye and take care.